Dun, 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 dun. Just pretend it's glitter, right? Same difference. Anyway, yes, big event. So after more than 10 years, a physicist has made a response video. A 2-hour response video. This is an event. It will be. It can't go all wrong. There's got to be some value in this. And but the very fact that he made a response video is absolutely fantastic. Now, whether he made a response video to, the wrong video, well, I can't do much about that. That's why I have a website and I have videos on subjects, is because those are ones I would prefer to have responses to. But it's okay. It can't be all that bad. Alright, so it's really good. A physicist making a response video. Amazing. Alright, so haven't played it. We'll see. So it starts off a little bit bad, with this Yoda crap. There is no try, there is do or do not do. That one rings in my head. Oh shit. I'm in big trouble then. This winning's tough, Anyway, reaction to draft science, and it says, may the acceleration, the mass times acceleration be with you, and it's just not true. So I'm sure somewhere in this video he's responding to, I said, quit lying about Newton. It's not Newton's formula. It's not what Newton said. Okay, your energy, the force, F, is the change in your momentum. It's nothing else. Okay, it's the change in your velocity, period. Okay, there's no per second. There's no, there's 2 squared, there's 2 s units, so therefore I'll square the s. No, there's none of that in Newton's understanding. Okay, so anyway. See, we haven't even started yet. But anyway, let's play the video. I have to make the volume louder, no doubt. I have to fix it up here, no doubt. I always got to do all this stuff, but we'll see. So, from my experience, I have to make it a little louder.
Okay, welcome back to I Can Science That. I'm doing something a little different today. So this is going to be a reaction video. I'm going to be watching a video from Draft Science for the first time. And
wow, that's interesting. So he's doing it also live, in the sense that he hasn't pre-watched it to know which parts he's going to react to and all that stuff, and he's not going to quote mine it or any of that, and he's just going to honestly state what his brain does when he hears the statements. So let's see what happens. I mean, I asked a simple question. Does it take 25 times the fuel to spin or move something 5 times as fast? We're using his car as an example, and it's just kind of obvious that everybody knows that the miles per gallon or miles per kilowatt numbers don't go quadratically bigger. They don't tell you, don't drive fast because it's going to cost you a fortune. They don't say any of that because it doesn't happen.
And responding to it. This is something I don't normally do, but I felt like I wanted to do something with it. But
yeah, please. And again, this is going to be so much better than all this jargon in text. It will be better. I'm sure it will be.
I didn't really want to spend a whole lot of time making slides or anything like that. So I hadn't watched the video before doing this recording. I did it in a few pieces, and there are a few edits.
Oh, okay. So we did do it ahead of time. That's not too good.
Along the way. Sometimes I'll say things like, oh, he's going to talk about whatever. Honestly, it's because I thought I was watching a different video that I had watched before, but
all right, so that's kind of funny. So he didn't think he was doing a live reaction video, and then he found out he's playing the wrong video, because there were 2 videos, dealing with the 2 different, his text comments to be an email, and then his text comments on the website. So there were 2 different videos.
No, it was a new video, watching it for the first time. So these are my reactions to the video. I guess enjoy. And before we go any further,
Oh, we have to tell the audience, which is what? We're supposed to assume the audience is all 3 years old? I mean, when do kids not get F-bombed? I mean, what was the age where they haven't been F-bombed yet? Oh, I mean, that game is way over. Presidents do it now. I mean, it just doesn't matter. But anyway, what was that other? So he has whatever he just said about images. So reaction video, okay, and it says I had not watched this video before. So I guess this is for like deaf people in the audience, that he's having statements that let people know here, this is what I'm saying.
This individual that I'm reacting to uses a lot of very rude, hateful comments, a lot of profanity. Just all.
Let's understand, it's not hateful. It's just honest contempt for dishonesty. That's what it is. It's honest contempt for dishonest crap, frankly. And that's what people should have, is honest reactions. I shouldn't dishonestly pretend it pleases me, okay, to be jargoned at or patronized. It doesn't.
A lot of profanity. So this is not safe for children. This is not advertiser friendly. So
excellent.
Good thing I don't monetize. But yeah,
win-win.
Proceed with caution. If I'll swear once in a while, right? So I'm cool with that. That's no big deal. But the kind of behavior you're going to see in this video is not this. It's just not allowed on my channel. You couldn't put that stuff in the comments underneath one of my videos. I wouldn't allow that because this is supposed to be a safe space.
Yeah, whatever that is. Okay, so safe means useless space. Common denominator, lowest common denominator space is the space you don't want. Just like the politics now, you don't want it. It's the worst possible world. But okay, let's play along.
To explore science, right? If you have a contrarian view, your view of science.
So what do you know about contrarian viewing? What do you know about it? You're one of them, okay? You're a member of the Inquisition from my perspective. And you just are shutting down and shutting up anything that even indicates that your science might be a big pile of crud. So when have you been in this dissenter position? It's really frustrating to be in the dissenter position, I'm telling you. Okay, I'm just letting you know. You get shut down everywhere. You can't even argue any subject in any science form on the internet. You can't do it. And it's not about swearing or F-bombs. You don't have to say a single one of them. They just sit there and pretend everybody who disagrees with them, disagrees with your science, everyone who disagrees with your science is a flat earther. That's what they do. I can show you Professor Lewin insulting, okay, a guy with a doctorate in electronics because he claimed it's a little bit stupid to claim there's two voltages in the same place. And because he did that and explained why Professor Lewin was wrong, Professor Lewin just called him a flat earther.
This doesn't match up with my view of science. You're welcome here. You're welcome to come here with your ideas, and I'm excited to explore them with you. But if you...
yes, you're excited to explore them in your way, which is not exploring at all. Did you ever look up Leibniz? Have you looked up dropping 4 pounds 1 foot and dropping 1 pound 4 feet and find out physics has never done the experiment ever? Ever? They drop hammers, they drop feathers. Do they measure how much impact weight? Nope. Couldn't be bothered measuring how much force was collected.
Just want someone to yell profanity at, that's not allowed. So without further ado, let's watch the video. Hello there, welcome back to I Can Science That. It's been a while. I've been busy, sort of. Frankly, kind of lost interest with a lot of the stuff that I usually talk about.
Ooh, yeah, that never happens to me. Physics is always interesting. Well, they see it's interesting to me because I know it's all wrong, and it's just about the discovering the real hard piece of evidence that's going to finally prove you're all fact murderers.
Doesn't seem like there's really any point in having these conversations.
Well, don't give up. I mean, if you don't have them, then there's no point because nothing changes, nothing gets fixed, nothing good happens. So all there is this trying stuff,
So yeah, I just focusing on work, school, stuff like that. So mostly staying out of it, but.
I mean, I think these elemental questions really go to school, and especially when you're teaching young people, not older students. It's really important not to indoctrinate them into wrong ideas. And the very fact that all these ideas are so fluffy in terms of the evidence you're drawing your conclusions from is really important. And just the idea of saying what you say about Newton, implying that Newton was a Leibnizian, which is just so ironic. Leibniz was his worst enemy in life. He clearly wasn't a Leibnizian.
This fellow, Draft Physics, made a video commenting on some of my older stuff, and
oh, I did? Oh, so I don't remember that video. I thought it was the one about the comments. Oh dear. Okay. The older stuff. Let's see, what video was that? The older stuff. Don't know.
So I just popped in and said, hi.
Okay, he did there was a flat earth video, some woman who was trying to say there isn't something or other, and he was doing a response video to her. So this is going to be a response video to a response video to a response video to a reaction video to a response video. Which is okay. It's just that it needs a lot of R's. Regarding. Oh, this is just... Oh. Alright, so he hasn't said anything yet. Okay, there's no physics yet. But this should be good.
Hey, this is what I think about this, and if you want to talk about it, we can talk about it. You know how it is. I have this theory that that people sometimes feel like science is dismissive of them, and maybe that drives people away from feeling that science is part of their team, and math is an enemy team or something. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think we shouldn't be trying to push people away, and I think maybe that's inadvertently what drives people to become like that. But yeah, let's take a look at where this has gone, and how this goes when I try to reach out to somebody and try to invite them to have a conversation where I'm not trying to push them away, where I'm
okay. I just this is just about the absolute facts. You're claiming a fact. It takes 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. When something's moving 5 times as fast, you're saying it's an absolute fact that it produces 25 times the work. I've only given an example of every single experiment you can do just about where the kinetic energy fails to work. It fails to move the spaceship. It fails to move anything with this extra amount of energy. It doesn't happen anywhere. That's the subjects. It just... So there is a Dispar comment I just noticed, so let's read that. That ought to be funny. Let's see. He is so unbearable to watch. Likewise, so are you. That's why I don't watch you anymore, is because why do it? It's just going to be lies and slanders and nonsense. Okay, the man is 65 years old. Who cares? Oh, that's really important. And keeps demanding the whole world to provide him with... Oh, no, I'm asking the physics community to prove what they're saying, okay? It's supposed to be science. It's not supposed to be a religion. It's not supposed to just say, we have the truth, you're supposed to believe this, and you don't need any reasons to believe it because it's, it's not like it's supposed to be science. You're not supposed to understand. You're supposed to just be followers. I mean, you just say it. Amazingly bullshit statement. He wants to see. Okay, he has spent years and years in his basement. So again, it's more just these little slights, from this, ugly turd. So let's do the ad hominem attack thing, but you can't make a real physics argument, can you? That's right, you can't. All right, yelling, show me, show me. So this is a terrible thing. Somebody saying, show me to a scientist. This is just so fucking awful. All right, all the evidence that has been shown to him was rejected. Yes, and most of it, okay, for obvious reasons. All right, because you don't care about variables. This is a guy who crashes matchbook cars into soda crackers and calls that good physics science. All right, and denied whether it's done by amateurs or scientists. So lie some more. Obviously, I like when it's done by scientists, but obviously any idiot can know if the scientist is filming it from a 45-degree angle, that's not very good. Yeah, they can figure that out. And in the Professor Lewin case, which is the most famous, there's this sloppy, ugly smears of clay all over his air carts, indicating that he has adjusted them, to function the way he wishes them to. It doesn't matter. He denies literally everything that proves him wrong. So this is all bullshit that proves me wrong, right? And you're denying everything that proves you wrong. So you deny the Mythbusters experiment explicitly. You'll certainly never have an explanation for the ballistic pendulum experiments. So, you're just so dishonest. Instead of wasting so many years ranting, he could have spent the time trying out hundreds of experiments himself. And again, I've made it clear, why do I want to see a crappy experiment? Why do I want somebody to build a tin can nuclear plant? Why do I have any interest in science experiments that aren't valid? So we're all the way back to Madame Chartelet and dropping round things into clay and denting the clay with them. Are you going to argue that's good science? Please. After I've given you the explanation, after I've explained springs to you, are you still going to argue they give the same energy regardless of the mass? I mean, the fact is you got to be really careful doing experiments because there's variables that screw them up. Damn, boy, he's so dumb. He could have spent time getting out of his basement. Okay, well, we won't bother with this. This is just a waste of time. Gave him his chance to say something relevant, but he didn't.
Absolutely ready to listen to their ideas. I'm ready to test their ideas.
Okay, so that's the interesting part. I mean, look, there's all kinds of little experiments, and I'm just saying I can just point to the Bruce Yearney experiments. It's not great sliding wooden blocks, but, it's something. And certainly when you say 16 times the energy against 1 unit of energy, that should be a pretty decisive tug-of-war result. I mean, the thing with 16 times the energy should win. And you ask the question, why doesn't it? It's a reasonable question.
Ready to get on board. But, I got the other side to balance too, so let's have a real productive conversation. Let's see how that goes. So here we go.
baitphysics.com also.
So I was pretty depressed, right? So that's how this video starts, was it's just like, this is just pathetic. I'm not going to get any answers. They're really simple questions, rotten answers. Simple question. Was the Eddington experiment a really great clinical experiment? You got 10% of the data quality, and it rained 5 minutes before he did the experiment, meaning obviously the atmosphere is full of moisture. And he said in his own journal, I wouldn't stake my life on these results. Now, is that enough evidence to say, okay, let's just say, nice try, but too bad you didn't do the do part. The do part didn't happen. Okay, so let's move on. Try again. Because this experiment can't be valid. It's so bad. And then they've never done it from space. Has anybody ever answered my point? 60 years in space, it's a 5-minute experiment, you don't need an eclipse, and they've never even attempted it? Please, provide me the reasoning how the experiment that made Einstein shouldn't be repeated.
but the people just won't debate. And where you argue with something called evidence, experimental evidence. And so, yes, there's just none provided to defend the preposterous fable. And it's just so disappointing that you go over this and over this and over this, and the physicists always do the same bullshit. They talk around the subject and pretend they've answered anything or in any way address the fact that you have no experimental evidence.
Yeah, so is he going to address the fact that there's no experimental evidence? Physics hasn't crashed cars, they haven't dropped rocks, they haven't rebuilt the joule tank, they haven't done anything at all to shore up that argument, to prove that theory.
And that should be called bad science. When you don't have any experimental evidence, that's called bad science. It's great religion, but it's really bad science.
Okay, you're supposed to talk now. Answer that point. That's exactly what it is. It's religion when you don't have any evidence. He's going to talk.
Okay, we heard a couple things there. He'll cycle back to a lot of these, and we'll touch on them. He wants experimental evidence, and absolutely, I'm an experimentalist, or was, right? Back when I was in school, that was my thing, experimentalist. Yeah, I dig that, and on this channel, that's one of the things I really try to push for is simple experiments that we can do ourselves and cheaply. So that's what I'm all about. So that sounds good. So why is he ranting against me?
Oh, amazing. Because you don't have an experiment defending 25 times the fuel to move something 5 times as fast. That's why I'm ranting against you. It's because you're defending a nonsense equation, 1/2 mv squared, proposed by an insane religious kook, okay, who was buried, completely discredited as a scientist. And there's absolutely no good reason for reasonable people to believe this nonsense because it's a fable. It's a Holy Ghost story. That's the accusation. Now counter the accusation with the compiled evidence, which there is none.
When we should be allies on that. It is what it is. Because he's characterized then, I guess that's the other thing, he's characterized physics as if it's a religion. That's how he sees things. And it's just not.
Okay, you said it is not, and I'm saying, of course it is. You're saying light is twice as bent. There's a perfect experiment to do it explicitly, okay? Not radio waves, not scatter, not some other explanation. The Eddington experiment's a really valid way to test, and it hasn't been tested. Hasn't been redone outside the margin of error, hasn't been in any way verified. That's your physics, okay? Your physics is full of examples where you draw these bizarre conclusions out of evidence. You interpret experiments with this insane nonsense. The Stern-Gerlach experiment, you're moving silver atoms. You're crashing them into, right? And then you're claiming I'm measuring the magnetic moment of an electron. How do you make that leap? Again, the double slit is the most famous. You're saying you're shooting electrons at a crystal. There is no slits in the crystal, and you call it a double slit experiment. Is this honest or anywhere near the truth?
We'll hear in his own words my evidence for why his point of view is to see this as religion, and I will try to calmly explain why that is not correct. Okay.
Oh, well, you had your chance right there, and you said, well, let's wait till later, maybe. Okay, so I'm going to have to wait till later. I'll take a little pause. So far, not great, but I mean, he had his chance to point out where there's volumes of evidence supporting these theories that physics has. Volumes and volumes and volumes. And the absolute truth is when you pick just a little bit at it, there's nothing. It's all hot air, so to speak. Right, should be back. Pausing is dangerous. Yeah, let's see if I actually record this video. Yay, it's recording.
Let's keep going.
Oy. All right, so this I can science that. He can't science to save his life. He's not even close to knowing what science is supposed to be. It's a deliberate, willful investigation. It's detective work. Why is the question you want to answer. Why does it do what it's doing? How does it do what it's doing? How was it done? Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be answering. You're not supposed to be just babbling platitudes of, well, we think a Newton isn't, indivisible into a joule. You can't convert Newtons into joules. Well, yeah, you can.
Okay, so now we're talking.
Okay, so let's see what his answer is, right? Now, it's a pretty simple argument, right? He kept telling me what a Newton was. He kept telling me what a joule was over and over and over again, like somehow that's the out, that you can't compare something that is in newtons to something that's in joules. When, yes, you can. It's just an amount of energy. It's just a way of saying the same thing. How much energy does it have? Weight is energy. Weight is pressure. Pressure is force. Force is energy.
Talking about some actual science. You can't convert newtons into joules. Those are not the same thing. I mean, they're just not. By definition.
So you can say they're not the same thing. Of course they are. They can be converted. It's the same thing. There's like a Celsius definition of temperature is just as real as a Fahrenheit one. They can be converted into each other. There's no issue. It's the same thing. It's a measurement of something's capacity to do something in the universe. It's just silly to say it's not the same thing when you can convert them directly into each other. This is just, all right, this isn't going to be good after all. Because he's just going to evade every subject some more.
Definition, right? We're talking about the definitions of words. Go
look up the definition of momentum and go look up the definition of kinetic energy and tell me what the difference between the two definitions are. Both of them are describing motion. Fact. And you're just claiming that this special scalar motion is somehow a special scalar motion. Whatever that means. Which is nothing. It's just a word. And what kind of word is it? One that was just made up. That's what kind of word it is. It's gobbledygook.
We want to communicate. I think we ought to be using the same words.
Whatever. I have to believe that I can't convert newtons into joules. You're telling me that. You're saying I'm not allowed to think it's possible. Yeah, it is possible. So they do this all the time. They convert horsepower into watts. They convert all kinds of these units into other units all the time. So they can do it. But I can't. I can't convert feet into meters. I can't do any of this stuff. Only they can. Yeah.
And a joule is a unit of energy. A newton is a unit of force.
Well, same thing, frankly. Again, Newton would tell you it's the same thing. They didn't have the word energy back then, so force is the only word they had. So again, this is just, you're just playing word games, just word gaming around the subject instead of dealing with the fact that newtons can be converted into joules and that this isn't about units. This is about the fact that you claim there's some other kind of energy, existing in something when it's moving. You're saying there's some other energy besides the momentum, this special squared energy. And the simple argument is well, if the squared energy shows up, then you made free momentum. And if the squared energy doesn't show up, then it's pretty clear evidence that the squared energy is a fable.
Force is not energy. How do I know that? Well, because, based on the definitions of those words. You go look up the...
I just told you to go look it up. So what's the definition difference? You're going to tell me there's a real difference between the two definitions? There's no real difference, except you claim your kinetic energy does do work. And the fact is, it doesn't work on a spaceship, and it doesn't work in a ballistic pendulum. It does zero work. It makes heat. It makes useless noise, not useful noise. And the point is, it doesn't really make any of that other stuff. Doesn't make anything extra.
Definitions of the words in the context that we're using them, which is, physics. They have very, very distinct definitions. They're just not the same. So
no, okay, you can say it, and I'll say you gave me no good reason to believe what you just said. That force isn't energy, that force isn't what moves something, that force isn't the elemental function. You gave me nothing. Zero reason to understand what this distinction is.
I mean, how are we supposed to converse if you won't use this?
No, converse, draw it. Draw me a Newton, okay, like a quarter, 100 grams falling 1 meter is a Newton. And a joule is the weight of 1 kilogram. And the fact is, when you just calculate those two things, they turn out to be the same thing. So 1/10 of a kilogram falling, okay, is the same thing as the kilogram just sitting. Those two impact weights are the same. That's the conversion. I didn't make it up. Physics will tell you that.
Same definitions of words. I don't even know where that's supposed to go.
It's perfect.
All right, so it's easy. You can do the same experiment to test for newtons as you can do for testing for joules. There's not some different experiment. You give something the motion, and then you test how much does the motion do? What does it do? So again, all right. So you get my point. My hostility is built out of the fact that you can't get an honest answer. Now, was that an honest answer? Did that say anything? Was that any reason for somebody who says, explain it to me or give me a reason? Is that a reason to believe? Newtons are different than joules. Okay, you said so. That's it.
Illegal, scientifically. Anyway. Upon request, I have watched only the 5 minutes so far. I will try to find time to watch the rest and review the description later, but I find my patience waning. Well, fine. I'm done.
Yes, like I said, I was pretty depressed because it was just like, oh, okay, I'm just not going to get anywhere with this. I've been here and done that, right? I spent 2 weeks with the Paul Nord guy, just going over and over one simple experiment. And he just wouldn't accept that springs don't work the way he thinks they work. They don't waste any energy. There's no difference. They always give back the same force no matter what weight you put on front of one. And so I've done video after video explaining how that's impossible, because you can see the spring oscillating, frankly. You can measure its oscillation. It's clearly can't be true. And he just wouldn't. He kept arguing that, oh, you don't want to do the experiment. You don't want to do science. You're afraid of the experiment. No, I can't agree with your premise. If your premise is springs give heavy things the same amount of energy they give light things, then yeah, we can't talk about the experiment because it's a variable for which we don't agree what the effect of the variable is. So again, talk about rolling things on a surface. If you believe friction is constant per inch, no matter how fast something moves, well, then we're not going to be able to have a discussion about the experiment, are we? Because it's going to be dramatically different. The world where friction is variable, dependent on velocity, is a completely different world, or a world where the friction is per inch and always the same. Those are two different worlds.
I had patience, but yes, you just keep talking around every fucking subject and keep saying, Newtons aren't joules, Newtons aren't joules. Doesn't matter, they don't have to be, because they can be converted into the same unit.
Okay.
We could convert both of them into watts. Okay, if you wanted to play games, okay, we can convert both into watts.
Why is my patience waning? Because he's very belligerent. He doesn't respond to the things that I say, but instead calls them gibbered.
I responded to them. How did I not respond? I respond over and over and over again and say it's, you're playing a game telling me I can't convert a Newton into a joule. Of course I can. So I'm not going to believe what you said you can't when there's no reason I can't.
He insists that I'm deflecting when I am directly addressing his points.
Okay, so there's no direct anything, so sorry, you're not going to sell that to a reasonable observer that you've answered the point and explained why newtons can't be converted into watts and why joules can't be converted into watts, and then you can have the same unit for recognizing what's happening in the experiment. It's motion. It's not any more complicated than that. Again, the bottom line is momentum is in the kinetic energy formula. It's right in it.
Yeah, and you'll see that. And
I won't see any such thing.
once again, no, newtons and joules cannot be converted to the same thing.
Yes, they can. So you're wrong. It's just so I'm sorry. That's just lying to the audience, lying to kids. If that's what you're going to tell them, that's a lie.
They just cannot.
Well, yeah, they just can't. Because the Holy Ghost says so. That's all there is. Whatever the Holy Ghost says. Well, show me where the Holy Ghost said that.
What is a joule? I don't know. Why don't we tell you what? Let's look it up.
Why don't you just look up the definition of kinetic energy, then look up the definition of momentum, and you'll see they're both describing motion in the universe. Oh, so this will be so he's going to do a Google in the middle of a response video. That'll be tedious.
Here we are. What is a joule? A joule is a Newton meter.
Yeah, there you go. So it's got a Newton in it. I guess it's made out of newtons.
Or a watt second.
All right, there you go. Or a watt second. So let's just convert both of them into watt seconds. How about that?
Interesting. Can we convert a Newton into a joule?
Yeah, type that question. Ask the Google that. Ask the Google. Ask the holy Google.
Well, if you've got some meters to work with, you can figure out the situation. This is not controversial. This is not difficult.
So he's saying it's not even controversial. That's right, because nobody questions what the Holy Ghost says. Only Gary. Gary's the only dissenter against the Holy Ghost science.
This is just a definition. This is the AI overview. Maybe you don't like the AI overview. There's Wikipedia, videos.
Ah, yes. Well, I've been there and done that. That's a bastion of groupthink. If you ever want to find a bastion of groupthink, that's the place to go.
Britannica. I mean, I don't know. Pick one, but this is the vocabulary that is physics. So
okay, so again, this isn't talking around it, right? So he has no explicit statement says you can't convert newtons into joules. You have no explicit explanation why you can't convert newtons into joules. Absolutely nothing. He's just saying Celsius is real temperature, Fahrenheit is something completely different. They're completely different things. They're measuring completely different things. There's no way to do a conversion. You can't talk about them like they're the same thing.
A joule and a Newton, they are just not the same thing. A joule.
I guess, okay. You're bashing me over the head with that rotten salami, and it's just rotten salami. It's not a physics argument.
Joule is a Newton meter. A meter.
Yeah. Well, why even? The more you go into how you define your units, the more ridiculous, frankly, your science is going to sound. a Newton meter. I'm sorry, it's funny. It's so abstract.
These are things. So that's not the same.
Says you.
It's just not.
Says you.
They have a common denominator. I am allowed to do mathematics with things with a common denominator.
Common denominator.
Yes, the Newton part that you just stated. Newton meter. The Newton is right there, so it's already a common denominator.
I don't see a denominator here. There's no. I mean, you're just saying things, right? He's just.
Oh, brother. So this is their answer. So you ask, how do you defend this 25 times the fuel to do 5 times the velocity? And their brilliant answer is the units don't match. There, that's how I do it.
Saying things.
Fucked hard. Anyway, 251. You can't do both things. You can't use your momentum in the ballistic pendulum to make heat and then keep the momentum and make motion. You can't have your motion going 2 different ways. You can't have the motion going over here with a bunch of little tiny things moving and then claim I still have all my momentum. I didn't have to use any momentum to make all that stuff happen. I mean, it's ridiculous mush. It's free energy. If you have 1900 joules of heat and that had to be made with momentum, and you've got 2 joules of motion, then you've got 2,000 more joules of energy than you started with.
Right. You can't heat the room with 2 joules of energy. Can't do it, of motion. Now, where did it all come from? You can't knock down bowling pins and still have a ball that has all of its momentum. Can't do it. That's a simple argument.
That's free momentum.
I'm going to probably say it 100 times. Momentum and energy are different quantities.
Okay, so there's just no point, right? I mean, heat doesn't need the same fueling mechanism, force, that motion needs. Force doesn't make heat. Force doesn't make motion. Force is a silly word we shouldn't even bother using. What's the argument? So it just comes down to this Descartesian thing. They really don't understand conservation of. Conservation means it has to be somewhere. Feynman went to extensive lengths to tell this silly story with a little retarded kid hiding blocks. And he just kept pointing out that the scientist has to go look, because the little kid puts it in the sink, or the little kid puts it over here, and puts it over there, hides it outside the window, gives it to his friend. There's lots of ways the blocks can disappear, but they never disappear. So Feynman was a Descartesian. I mean, he clearly understood that's what conservation means, is that the blocks always exist. They're always somewhere. They never stop moving in the environment. So if I make 1900 movements in this direction, and I only started with 2 units of movement, that's pretty suspicious. Where did I get all the extra blocks?
Just by definition. And he's saying you can't conserve, what I was referring to there in that 251, he says you can't conserve energy and momentum at the same time. And
finish that sentence. So be honest. So again, they lie about Newton, and now he's going to lie about me. I explicitly always say when you move energy from different masses. Yeah, the Newton's cradle, you can conserve it all day long because it's all made up. Okay, so you're not changing any of the masses, and therefore you're not going to change the total velocity. But when you convert it from a big mass to a small mass, well, now you're going to have that v squared is going to matter now. And when you go from a small mass to a big mass, now you're going to have that v squared is going to matter now. So you're not going to be able to conserve both. That's the fact I argued. Let's see what he perverts it into.
I mean, of course you can.
All right, show me.
And my response here is just look up elastic collisions versus...
Oh, see, no. I don't need to look it up because every one of the experiments is a pile of crap. So go ahead and you can say it's true and it's not true. The ballistic pendulum I've looked up. I've looked at 100 ballistic pendulum experiments, and in no experiment ever is any of the kinetic energy collected as linear motion. Not in a single experiment. Verifying my theory. Okay, that yes, you can't conserve both. I mean, it's as obvious as the lever argument. I mean, if you put a 2 mass going 1v on one side and you only get a 1 mass going 1.4 out of the other side, you obviously haven't conserved the momentum. Duh.
Inelastic collisions, and you'll get plenty of examples.
No, you won't. So they're just more... See, this is just useless. I'm begging you to give me the link. So give me the link to the experiment you say proves something. Ugh, God. Just horrible.
Of where we learn this.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe I should just try to, I don't know what I did with the Mythbusters video, but I'll just play it over and over and over and over again, just to keep shoving it in your face, okay, that, yeah, there's experiments that contradict entirely what you're saying. And you have to explain them then. Every day you have to explain the same experiment over and over again. I've already explained how springs work. You do an experiment with a spring, you got to be careful because the fact is it's going to give the heavy things more energy than it's going to give the light things. Fact.
How we learn this, how we practice with it, and how we demonstrate it in...
Yeah, just bullshit. I don't want vague... Well, we've done other experiments, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they're somewhere. Like... What do you mean by show me? You think I should show you? I don't think I have to show you to show you. Yeah. Don't show you. That's the same as show you, right? It just has a don't in front of it.
The physical world, that momentum must be conserved, of course, in the absence of an external force. Yeah,
it's just bore baby talk. It must be conserved except when we unconserve it. Except when we put on a lever and it only does 1.4. Then we don't conserve it.
Yes, absolutely correct. And in general, energy must be conserved.
In general, except for all the specific examples where it completely fails. So it doesn't have to be conserved with a rocket. Doesn't have to be conserved in a ballistic pendulum. Doesn't have to be conserved with pulleys. Doesn't have to be conserved with a water hose. Doesn't have to be conserved with, and go on and on and on and on, where it's not conserved.
Also true. So how can we have both? And it's only possible if energy can be converted from kinetic energy into some other form of energy.
All right, whatever all that is, some other form of energy. When it's all motion, frankly, there's nothing else that happens. Friction causes little things to move. I mean, it's just that obvious. If you take the mass and the velocities, all the little things moving, it'll equal the big things lost in motion. It's just like a bowling ball hitting bowling pins. There's no magic. The pin leaves with 4.7 newtons or joules, and the ball lost 4.7 newtons or joules. That's how it works. It's exchanges. The blocks can't be created and destroyed. They can only be exchanged. So we can't agree on the elements of what it is to have force and motion in the universe. It's just, somehow you're believing that some other way. You don't really accept Feynman's analogy.
And yeah, of course, it's like heat, for example. Heat is the big one.
I'll take a little pause. I'm back. Yeah, so anyway, very disappointing. So all we have so far pretty much is weight this way isn't weight this way. Yeah. That those isn't the same measurement. Yeah, it is. All right. So continuing.
So yeah, and he'll rant about that too.
Blah blah blah. So it's all just ranting. So I draw it, explain it the best I can, what the problem is, and it's all just ranting. Yeah, right. That's real honest of you. not. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Please look up elastic. This has nothing to do with elastic and inelastic. It has to do with where did the energy go. It's a quantity of motion. It's conserved, which means you have to find out where it went.
Right. If you have 2,000 blocks and you only started with 2 blocks, you have to explain, where did I get all those extra blocks?
You have to investigate. You roll a ball on a surface. Only ignorant people think, hey, the ball stopped, the energy was destroyed. No.
Well, maybe ignorant people do think that the energy was destroyed. That's not what I said, and that's not what physics said. Notice.
I'm sorry, it is what your physics is saying in the sense that you're pretending that the friction is constant per inch, which it isn't. That's what your formula doesn't account at all for the change in the friction. It just says it's the same friction constantly. That's what your formula says. I'm saying that's idiotic for us physicists who slid across thin ice. That's nonsense.
The very quick dismissal of please look up elastic collisions versus.
Yeah, I'm just. It's not about elastic and inelastic. It's about 10 pounds and 5 pounds. It's about moving energy from a heavy thing to a light thing, or moving energy from a light thing to a heavy thing. And it doesn't matter whether it's elastic or inelastic. Every single time you do that, okay, you're not going to conserve both the momentum and the kinetic energy, unless you believe that when a nuclear bomb explodes, it's no momentum. You know, unless you think somehow that because energy is going this way, it nullifies the energy going that way. Well, yeah, if you believe that nonsense, that momentum, blocks moving this way, undo blocks going that way. Now, Feynman didn't say that in his analogy. He didn't say that, you know, the block on one side of the room undoes the block on the other side of the room.
An elastic collision. Why do I want him to look that up? He says it's irrelevant. It's not irrelevant.
It's irrelevant to anything I'm arguing. So again, you can claim what's relevant to what I'm saying, but it's not relevant to my explicit statement. It's about moving energy from light things to heavy things, or from heavy things to light things. That's the condition of my statement, and it doesn't matter whether it's elastic or inelastic. My statement doesn't care. It doesn't make a distinction.
In an elastic collision, kinetic energy is conserved, as well as momentum.
It says you. And simply, obviously the argument is it doesn't conserve in elastic, and it doesn't conserve in inelastic. The ballistic pendulum is inelastic, and in my opinion, it's idiotic to say the momentum was conserved when you now have 2,002 blocks in the environment and you only started with 2. That's not conservation.
They're both conserved in what we call an elastic collision. That's what we call that. In an inelastic collision, that's a collision where...
So again, he doesn't even, you know, their science is so bad that they're saying it's not conserved when it's right there plainly in the form of heat. That's not conservation. Well, of course it's conservation. So he's not even getting any of this argument. But go ahead, show me the elastic collision, okay, where things bounce off of each other and you conserve the momentum without saying something ridiculous like going that way undoes that way. Because the lever is the perfect example, right? I mean, where's the two-direction problem? It doesn't exist. So you're saying that you can drop a certain momentum on this side and you get a certain momentum on the other side. Is it the same momentum? Absolutely not, according to Steve Mould. But if I did conserve the momentum, then I made free kinetic energy. So there's no way to undo it. Pulleys. There's no way you can use a pulley. Is that elastic or inelastic? Well, I guess that's neither. So let's just stick with levers.
The momentum is conserved, but kinetic energy is lost. Not created.
All right,
from
so show me.
Not
again, what's the point, right? I mean, you know, I made it explicit right in the beginning. I'm saying there's no experiments here. There's no evidence. There's just, again, them preaching out of their Bible, and that's it. So until you show me the experiment that proves and give me an opportunity to point out how the experiment's garbage. Like, again, you could show me the de Chardonnay experiment, denting clay with round objects. And, oh, it looks like it's real science. PBS did a whole show, where they dramatized the whole thing. They sold it like it was a credible experiment, like this is how you test for energy, is denting clay. Not penetrating clay, denting it. It's as bad as shooting pointy arrows and saying the pointy arrows have more energy. It's just as bad. It's just as fake, phony pseudoscience. Show science.
Destroyed, just turned into heat or other forms of energy. It's used
other forms of energy. So again, they're blocks.
In other ways besides the kinetic energy. That's it. And if you just look that up.
Yeah, so more of this vague reference to the looking up, the magical looking up, where I'm going to find these experiments and I won't. So I can look up 1 pound drop 4 feet and 4 pounds drop 1 foot. I can look it up for the rest of my life, and guess what? I'm not going to find anything because you've never done the experiment. I could look up how much velocity does something need to weigh as an impulse its gravitational weight. I could look it up forever. Physics never did the experiment. I mean, that's a 2-minute experiment, and they've never done it.
You'll see that there's, a great deal of background there.
Oh, there isn't any background there. Again, it's mathematically impossible. Your own math says it's impossible. If I change the mass, the velocity squared number goes way out of whack, so there's no way I can conserve both. It can't happen mathematically, and it physically can't happen.
Oh, smart people understand the energy in the ball, the linear motion, was converted into vibrations in the ground. And then those vibrations will dissipate into atmosphere, and then that atmosphere will dissipate it into space.
Yeah, that's what we call heat, right?
Yeah, it's caused by momentum. Motion causes motion. Nothing else causes motion. Motion causes motion. Photons have to move and hit you. Something has to move, hit you, and give you motion. Motion causes motion. And you have to have a conservation of motion.
That's what I just said.
Fucking tard.
Again, so really, I think what we've got here, and it's pretty obvious at this point, that...
Yeah, it is pretty obvious at this point. We've got a preacher who I've put on the coals and said, go ahead, show me some reason to believe in your fable. And he's shown nothing.
Doesn't want to have a conversation. That's not the goal here.
Oh, bullshit. So just lie some more. I mean, just pathetic. Pathetic.
Because if he did, you'd find we're in agreement, right? We're in.
But no, we're not in agreement. So again, it's just simple. It's just crazy to say we're in agreement when you fundamentally don't think the nuclear bomb is full of energy, full of momentum. It doesn't cancel anything. Nothing got canceled by doing this way and that way. There was no cancellation.
Agreement there. The momentum hit something. Momentum was conserved. We're in agreement there. And the energy of that motion...
Well, look, you're saying that there's 4 times the heat. So I roll something with twice the velocity. Your theory says now you made 4 times the heat in the surface. Don't you think you could test that? 3 times the velocity, it's 9 times the heat in the surface. That's your argument. Obviously, my argument is no, you have momentum in the big thing, and now you're going to have the same momentum in the little things. You're saying you're actually going to make 9 times the momentum in the surface. So obviously, you can't conserve both. If your kinetic energy theory is correct, there has to be 9 times the heat in the surface. Do you agree? That's what the formula says, right? You're taking all of the kinetic energy out of the object and you're putting it in the ground. So you have to have 9 times the heat in the ground. If you have 9 times the heat in the ground, you can't say you conserve the momentum, can you? Oh, Jesus. It's so tedious.
Went into moving little particles, the atoms are vibrating, and they bump into each other, and that dissipates. That's what do you just call that? Heat? That's heat.
Yes, and doesn't it have a quantity, a joule number, a Newton number? It has an amount of it. The argument is your formula says there's 9 times 3. Okay, it's not 3 times, it's 9 times.
And when we're in complete agreement.
So we're not in complete agreement about how much heat is in that ground. Your theory says there's 9 momentums worth. Okay, my theory says there's 3 momentums worth.
Follows with just a blatant insult. So.
Oh, fuck you. I mean, really. So he just ignores there's arguments in all the videos, and because I say to your response, your biblically 4-word response of Newton isn't a joule, I say, oh, fuck that. You're going to say the whole video was, oh, fuck that. No, it wasn't. So again, just keep lying, which physicists do compulsively. Jeez, this isn't that hard to understand. I go the trouble to draw it. I go the trouble to explain it, to illustrate it, to hand wave, and you don't pay any attention to a single argument.
The insult is the point. That's my only conclusion that I can make.
Oh, right. So that's all you heard. Okay. Then fuck you if that's all you heard. Grow the fuck up, moron.
Here is that the insult is the point of what he's doing here. I guess we'll go on for a while, see where this goes. I don't know how long I'll do this.
Yeah, give up, because you have no responses that are relevant. You don't have a physics argument. You're not another detective coming into the room explaining how the crime really took place. You're just saying, what do knives and guns have to do with murder? We don't have to worry about any of that. They're dead. They probably killed they just said, I want to be dead, and now they're dead. So what? There's a hole in their head. Who cares? What does that have to do with it?
Shit. I mean, to have to explain this to a physicist, you're just like, what the fuck? They really do believe in free energy. All right, the difference between energy and momentum should be demonstratable if it's real. Yeah, well, and you have nothing. Then cite it. I mean, it's just amazing. It should be demonstratable. Demonstrate it. For fuck's sake. Show me kinetic energy doing work.
Okay, this is where I'm going to say it doesn't move a spaceship, it doesn't move a ballistic pendulum, it doesn't work on pulleys, it doesn't work on a lever, it doesn't work in hydraulics, it doesn't work in gears. So show me where it does work, where it actually moves a horse somewhere.
Can't move a spaceship. It can't be collected in a ballistic pendulum. It can't be used on a lever. It doesn't be conserved in pulleys. It doesn't work for a water hose. What experiment exactly does kinetic energy do work in?
Yeah, okay. This is the big one. Oh boy, I'm a little bit nervous. This is the big one. Will he simply answer the question? Let's see. Anticipation. Ooh, it's such a creepy feeling. I just can't fake any enthusiasm, right? There's just no chance he's going to say anything relevant.
All of those.
Oh, fuck. So the spaceship has a calculatable exhaust of 1,000,000 joules, and the ship moves with 2. And that proves conservation of kinetic energy. Fuck. So this is the low moment of showing that the physics has no integrity because the physicists have no integrity. The fact is every one of those experiments give you good reason to doubt the existence of this fable. Because you can't make the kinetic energy do any work.
And the irony is, of course, is he's demanding that I show him an experiment.
Yes, because you've had 350 years and gigantic budgets and all of that stuff. I do, in fact, live in a basement on meager resources and really shouldn't be required to do all these experiments you haven't done.
But he won't show an experiment.
Yes, that's right. I won't call up NASA and say, can I have some free satellite time to do the Eddington experiment? Yeah, I'm not going to bother making that phone call. And I'm certainly not going to build my own satellite out of a little tin box. Oh, fuck. Amazing evasion.
He won't do an experiment.
Yeah, you won't do an experiment. Again, this is just so offensive, right? When you just think of the insane amount of money they spend on that LIGO crap, the insane amount of money they're spending it looking for dark matter. And I could, with 1/1,000,000th of that budget, do these experiments. I could pay somebody to do them well.
Of course, I've been interacting with some other folks about this topic, and they show me that they've done the experiment, and they've shown him the experiment, and he...
Okay, so this is the joke. Okay. Yes, Matchbox cars crashed into crackers. Great experiment. That proves it. So we're right back to Deschartelet. We're right back to doing crappy experiments where you don't consider any of the variables. So again, just do the rolling thing forever. Just keep rolling things and just keep claiming the friction is the same. That velocity doesn't change the friction at all. All right? And lie to people. Make them think something is true that isn't true. Wow, you're just such a weasel. Defending pseudoscience experiments is crap. That's like defending the flat earthers who take a distorted picture and draw a whole big conclusion out of it. Because they don't care about the variables, they don't care about the actual physics, and you're just defending the same goddamn thing. Instead of manning up and saying, yes, you wish your science would actually do an experiment. It would be great if they actually did this experiment. See how much velocity something has to have an impulse force that's the same as their weight. That's asking your science to do too much. That's too expensive an experiment. I mean, you're ridiculous. That one really that was such a pathetic evasion. Pathetic. All right. Calm down. See what else he's got to say, but it's not going to be anything. I mean, just to take that whole clump of experimental evidence and dismiss it. I won't explain how levers work. I won't explain how hoses make free energy. I won't explain anything. I'll pretend rockets do conserve kinetic energy when clearly they don't.
Just ignores it. And what he'll say? He'll say it's irrelevant. It doesn't count for some reason. He contradicts himself.
Oh, bullshit. So you just made it clear, okay? I just cited all the experiments for which I have given extensive explanation for, and you have just ignored it all. Just hand-waved it away. All of those arguments. So you didn't explain how you can, like I said, how does the spaceship, the thrust is the thrust. It's happening. There's no equal and opposite reaction, so the third law is irrelevant to kinetic energy. So just admit that. There's no energy conservation requirement.
So once again, he doesn't want the experiment.
Liar, liar, liar. Pathetic, evil liar. I've offered money. I've said, people, do the experiment well and I'll pay you. So lie some more, putz.
Obviously, if he wanted the experiment, he'd do the experiment.
Why would I do the experiment? Again, with what? With this magic marker? I have done the experiments, by the way, asshole. So if you actually did any research, you'd know I made an air track, an innovative one with PVC pipes. Okay, and I found the experiment completely fluffy, because all I have to do is tilt any kind of air track mechanism, and I've created a jet engine. So it's a flawed mechanism because you are introducing a whole bunch of energy, and if you're not really careful in how you build that air track, it's not going to be frictionless, okay? It's going to be rocket engine full, and it's going to make all kinds of distortions take place. So I have done that. And then I did lever launcher. And I did do the most obvious one, which is the pendulum, okay, the balance, suspended from above, one mass out here, 4 mass here. Same exact thing. They move the same mass in gravity changing, which is just the tiny bit of mass of the lever itself moving, creates exactly the same motion in both objects. So one's going 4 times the velocity with one mass, the other one is 4 mass going 1 velocity, and it perfectly equals each other. The same motion. The motion stays in the object. It oscillates 100 fucking times, so we know the motion isn't going anywhere, and we know it's just lifting from one side to the other side to the other side to the other side. So the two things are proven to be equal. Proven. Where did anybody analyze that experiment say it's defective, it's broken, it doesn't, it's not reality? Did anybody debunk it? Did anybody do anything? No. You're just such a liar.
Right? He'd show us all that we're wrong, but he doesn't do that.
Liar. I mean, that's just a lie. So you're just lying about what I have done. I have done them. And the whole point is that, when I did the lever launcher, I mean, it certainly, I said right in the video, well, it sure as fuck looks like twice the energy. So, what's the argument? It looked like twice the velocity to me. It looks like it went 4 times the distance to me. So it must be twice the velocity. So, but I didn't have any. I don't have timing gates. I don't have high-speed camera. So, yeah, I couldn't verify it. But I did do the experiment, you fucking liar.
Because he doesn't want an experiment. He wants...
So it's just despicable behavior. You lack integrity. You're a liar. Okay, it's an overt lie to state that I haven't done experiments, because I have, and I've found the truth that rickety shitty experiments are just that, rickety shitty experiments. It's not what science should be based on. Gimmicks and bullshit isn't what science should be.
To complain. That's it. He just wants to rant at us. He wants to call us names.
No, I want you to get what you deserve too. Let's just throw that in.
There isn't one simple answer. Because it's a fable. When I try to discuss it with you, you reply by calling my efforts all mush. And isn't this mush and gibberish? Is this the answer? The difference between energy and momentum should be demonstrable if it is real. That's your obligation.
Why is that my obligation?
Because that's your science. Your science is making the declaration. Your science has billions of dollars, tons of experimental equipment, all of the tools to do all of these experiments, and it's done none of them. That's why it's your obligation. You're the institution. The institution should be able to prove its arguments. Oh, amazing.
Hundreds of years of physics and engineering have demonstrated this.
Okay, liar. Liar, 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 liar. Go show me the paper on dropping 1 pound 4 feet and 4 pounds 1 foot. Go ahead, show me the paper on that subject. Show me the paper explaining that everything has a velocity, a momentum, and you can measure it on a scale in newtons. And you can measure your weight in newtons from gravity. Fucker.
Cars work, right?
Okay, so he says cars use 25 times the fuel. So that's what he just said. Cars work. They follow the formula. It does cost you 25 times the amount of money to drive 50 miles an hour that it costs you to drive 10. He just told you. It's the truth. Fuck. I mean, this is just so... I keep saying it. Just can't get worse. And it gets worse. Just, just Idiocracy. It's just, we are fucked. There's no we, right? There's no intellectually honest person in this fucking house. There's a couple. But unfortunately, they're not very informed. So that's the only downside, is they have integrity, but they don't have a volume of knowledge. That's the sad, tragic part. But there's just no example, right? I mean, I'm the only one on Earth who can figure out that 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast is idiotic. I'm it. Nobody else can figure out that doesn't make any fucking sense. Nobody else can figure it out.
Cars work, brakes work.
Okay, so lie. God, I plead to be shown. Where did you show anything like that, you fucking liar?
The amount of energy that we can put out from the internal combustion engine or from an electric motor, we factor.
Yeah, we've proven it. It's 25 times the, yes, we did the drill thing, we did the turbine thing. Yes, the turbines, just spin them 5 times as fast to make 25 times the electricity. Happens every time. You spin the water wheel 5 times as fast, it makes 25 times the force and the energy. Yep. Just, all you have to do is, you take a big stream like this and you just make it a narrow stream like this, and you have 4 times the energy. So yes, you're in business. And if I made it 3 times smaller, then I have 9 times the energy. Yeah, it's free, no problem. Just make a lot of funnels, and wow, you can really make a lot of energy.
Those things in when we're trying to make cars, make them accelerate, race. You hit the brakes, and you have to scrub off the energy using friction.
So absolutely just nothing, right? Does this have anything to do with 25 times the fuel to go 5 times as fast? Is this explaining that? No, it isn't going anywhere near the subject. This is just dancing around the subject. I'll just dance around it and pretend I'm somewhere near it.
Where's that going to go? Oh, it's going to go to heat. How much heat? Better know how much heat you're scrubbing on.
Where did you put the thermometer in the ballistic pendulum? Ever? Never. Have you made a joule tank to do experiments? Never. I mean, it's just so bad. God damn it. These people have just no fucking integrity. Not an ounce of it in their whole little balding heads.
It all works. We've been doing this for hundreds of years.
Fuck, yeah.
It's accepted.
Yeah. Right. So Leibniz had no experimental evidence. De Châtelet had denting clay, which is the same as putting a point on an arrow and saying it has more energy. Same exact thing. And what else do you have? Oh, yeah, crickets. Crickets. Aren't crickets experimental evidence? Cricket. Chirp, 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 chirp. We have chirps. We chirped. We chirp, 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 chirped. Chirp, 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 chirp. But we didn't do any fucking experiments. We just keep claiming the Holy Ghost lives, and that's it. We didn't ever did an experiment. Let's see if we can weigh the Holy Ghost. Let's see if we can tie a string to the Holy Ghost. No, you didn't do a fucking experiment. Not one. Oh, God. I hate this planet. Just hate it here. I mean, it is a planet of lying scum.
Nobody's arguing with it except you.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? I am the only person that thinks, you know what, I'm damn sure it doesn't cost me 25 times more to go 50 miles an hour than 10. I'm damn sure.
So, if everyone accepts that something is correct, except you.
Yes, and no evidence. So yes, if all the people are religious, I have to be religious. So if all the people are Christians on the Mayflower, I have to be a Christian. You can't be anything. You can't possibly believe something else than what we believe. I mean, it's just so, this is amazing defense of the Inquisition. And again, the inventor of 1/2 mv squared, the promoter of it, actually tried to get Newton censored. He thought Newton was a threat to humanity. True fact. He solicited. He actually asked the king's wife, "Well, could you do something about this horrible Newton character?" Yeah, it happened. Just hilarious. These people, so disgusting. Alright, so we'll call this a video for now. And I'll do some more of this crap later, I guess. Because this is just... Is it really... Yeah, I don't even know if there's a point. I mean, he's evaded all the direct statements. Just completely, saying nothing. And then he lies about what I have done and what I am doing. Which is drawing it and explaining it the best I can why it can't be true, and he won't counter any of those arguments. Shit. Alright, yeah, I'll call it a day. Come back to this later. Quite depressing.